Well, things will start slowly coming back to order today, tomorrow, the next day. But it's probably going to take them a week because you've got the East Coast now slammed. Nothing coming in or out of New York, Washington, Boston, Philly, those places. And you've got crews and equipment scattered all over the country, all over the world, really. I was seeing on my Facebook feed a Delta flight attendant in Tel Aviv. She's there for an extra day, but she's also illegal to even work the flight home. So they've got to get a crew over there to work the flight back. And obviously, that's going to take a day or two. And that's just one example. So it's going to be a mess the rest of this week until they can get things back normal system wide.
Okay, what does it take to get the airport ready? Runways are iced over and what does
Well,
it look like?
you've got the icing and de-icing situation, but more importantly, you've got equipment and crew. And it's at the end of the month, which means your crews now, by FAA regulations, they can only work so many hours a month. And once they go over that limit, then they're illegal. And you got to take them out of the pool. And end of the month is always notorious in crew scheduling for having crews going illegal, even in good weather. And you're losing crews and you're having to replace them. This just compounds it multiple times over. So the fact that they're even trying to find legal crews anywhere to work flights. So you've got to have flights, you got to have airplanes, and then of course you've got to have de-icing and the ground equipment. The airport part is the easiest to define when it's going to be back to operational. We know in Dallas, obviously de-icing is not a big issue now because there's no more precip falling. The temperatures are cold, but it's a dry cold, so it's not building any ice up on the aircraft. The runways are getting plowed and cleared off. So we know the airport, DFW, will be back probably close to normal from an operational standpoint within the next day or two. Now you've got a situation of where's the airplane? Is it stuck in Oklahoma City? Is it stuck in Philadelphia? Is it stuck in London? Where are the crews and that are legal? You may have a plane here that can fly, but you don't have any crew to work it. And with the flight attendants, they're somewhat interchangeable, meaning that they can work a 757, a 777, a 737, an Airbus, and all that. Your pilot's not so much. A pilot is authorized or validated to work a specific aircraft. So you can't take a 777 pilot captain and put him on an Airbus. You have to have an Airbus captain for the Airbus plane. And even then, he's got to be an Airbus 220, 320, 330, 340, 350 captain. You can't take a 777 captain and put him on a 737, even though they're both Boeings. So it gets a lot stickier when you're dealing with the cockpit crew as to who's legal where, when, and how. Your flight attendant's a little bit more flexibility. You can take the 777 crew off, put them on a 737, probably two 737s, and they can work that flight. Then it's a matter of are they legal to work? They're allowed to work so many hours in a day, in a work day. They can be on duty a certain number of hours in a given day. And when I say duty hours, from the moment they check in the morning until they're done at the end of the day, can only be so many hours. Now, during that period, they can only fly so many hours in the air. So let's just say 16 and 8. They can be on duty a total of 16 hours, but they can only fly 8 hours. And I'm just making these numbers up because I don't know what the current contracts call for. They can only work so many hours in a week. When I was a flight attendant, it was, I forget the numbers now, but we had a rule for how many hours we could work in 7 days, how many hours we could work in 30 days. So they may be legal from one standpoint, but illegal from another. And those are hard rules. They're not allowed to hedge on them. Oh, let's go 31 instead of 30 hours, or let's go 17 hours in a workday instead of 16. FAA is very stringent. When they hit that limit, That's when it ends. And so crew scheduling right now is putting together a massive puzzle with thousands of pieces trying to find legal crews, aircraft that'll work. We had a case this past summer where Americans sent a flight to Naples, but Naples wasn't an airport authorized to handle that size of an aircraft, so it had to divert to Rome. So you even have cases where certain airports can't handle certain types of aircraft. So it's a huge jigsaw puzzle. If you like working jigsaw puzzles, you would love to be in airline operations right now because you're trying to juggle the crew, the aircraft, the airport, and all the legalities.
That sounds awful. No, no, thank
If
you.
you're into puzzles, it's a lot of fun, but yes, it's awful. And then you've got a case of where are your crews and do you have a hotel room for them? Okay. When they're on a legal overnight, they've got to have proper rest. You can't just say, well, sleep in the lounge at the airport. And of course, with all the cancellations, everything, try finding a hotel room near the airport right now, any airport. And that's going to be difficult. So you've got that also throwing into the equation.
Okay, so it seems like a really simple question. Your best advice if you've got a flight Thursday. What are we doing?
For Thursday,
Uh-huh.
where are we going?
Uh,
Yeah.
say New York.
So, well, New York going to be tough. Whether the airport's open or not, probably will be. But again, do they have equipment? Do they have crew? Because Thursday is still, I think, we're still in this month. So we've got illegal crews because they worked too many hours this month. So the flight may or may not go. You have reserves, but you can eat up those reserves pretty quick in a situation like this. So, I had someone the other day say, well, my flight to London or from London to Dallas is on time, tomorrow. And I said, yeah, but is the plane going to fly from Dallas to London so that there's a plane in London to bring you home? And this was he was supposed to come home Sunday. And so we were talking on Saturday. And I said, I seriously doubt the flight's going to leave Dallas to come to London. So unless they've got a spare plane there to use to fly back, your flight's probably going to get canceled as soon as they cancel the flight departing from Dallas going to London. So it's not just a situation of what the weather's like here, but what the weather's like elsewhere. The flight to New York may be coming from Chicago and it's snowed in. It may be a turn where the flight's coming down from New York to turn around to go back to New York, and it never left New York, or it left New York several hours late. So, just because the weather's nice here and there's a plane out there doesn't mean it's going.
Okay, what else should I be asking you about this?
Try not to check luggage, or you're going to have a scene, what you see behind me, which was what happened in London several years ago when they had a flight outage. Carry on your luggage, take your patience. If your flight is canceled, normally I would say look at alternative airports, but in a situation like this, I can pretty much guarantee you that every flight outbound is full with rerouted passengers, passengers that were supposed to fly yesterday or the day before. Being booked onto the flight. Don't be late for your flight if you are booked and scheduled and have a boarding pass with a seat assignment. That's really nice. But don't be late because they will cancel that, so many minutes before flight departure, and there will be a line of people there happy to take your seat.
Okay. I think that's, unless you've got something else, I think we're.
All I would ask is anybody going to the airport, take your patience and be nice to the airport crew, personnel, whether it's TSA, whether it's a gate agent, ticket agent, flight attendant, whatever. They're doing their best under strenuous situations. They want you gone as bad as you want to be gone, if not worse. So yelling and screaming at them, losing your patience, please don't. If the pilot says it's not safe to fly, they're paid very well. So they don't want to fly if it's not safe, and you don't want to fly if the pilot doesn't think it's safe. So they're not canceling the flight to get back at you. They're canceling the flight because there's a mechanical issue, there's a crew legality issue, or maybe it's just not safe to fly to that particular airport with what's going on and the fuel and all that. There's several things that go into why a flight would cancel. But just take your patience, be kind, be nice, and understand everybody's doing their best to get you to where you want to go the best they can with what they've got to work with.